really getting at a much bigger issue that I think our country's dealing with. As I hear you talk in the disagreement, it's really the centrally planned and managed economy that Dr. Meyer is talking about, or do we have a free market economy with a stable monetary measure of values and transactions? It's not so much a question of whether it works or not, or whether this study says we created 1 million jobs or whether we didn't. The question is should the Federal Reserve be attempting to manage our economy and economies all over the world through monetary policy and, in effect, encouraging more national debt by helping to, in effect, mask the effect of that debt by buying our own debt. We frankly, I don't think, know what our interest rates would be if the Federal Reserve had not intervened, and now their back's against the wall, as Dr. Meyer says, and they really can't go any further. So we're not sure what's going to happen, but I don't know that I have a question in all of this, except that it does appear to be You've got a question, Dr. Meyer. Since I've named you in this, I'll let you ask me a question here.
Okay. Senator DeMint,
yes.
With all due respect.
Thank you.
Do you think this hearing and the discussion about the Federal Reserve is really about a centrally planned economy versus a free market economy? Come on. Well, come on. Give me a break.
I'll answer that, because it's not just this hearing. It's the ones, a number of hearings that I've sat through, and the assurances you give us that things are working are very similar to the assurances that still haunt us today about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, that there's no problem with that type of subprime mortgages or whatever. So we're not trying to be disrespectful, but hopefully intelligently cynical, because the information we've got over the last decade or so has not proved to be true on what is a problem and what's not. But it really is, if you listen to the fact that the Federal Reserve does have a role in our economic system in determining really how the economy works and employment and economies all around the world. It's not just what I've heard here today, but when Chairman Bernanke is talking, he's clearly talking about how I almost feel like a puppeteer is telling me how he's pulling the strings. And while it may be for all good intentions, there is a fundamental difference in a free market economy with a standard monetary system and what we know through history is centrally planned economies. Dr. Taylor.
I think there's a relationship between the more discretionary monetary policy, less rules-based monetary policy we've seen now, and other kinds of policies, whether it's fiscal policy, regulatory policy. And I think that's one way to characterize what you're driving at. I've just finished a book where I traced that these trends to more interventionism, less interventionism, more government intrusion, less government intrusion, characterize movements not just of monetary policy but also of fiscal policy. And I believe you can see that currently. There is has been so much emphasis on these kind of short-term stimulus packages, whether it's the 2008 package to stimulate the economy, or the 2009 stimulus package, or first-time home buyers, or cash for clunkers. There's a whole long list of actions on the fiscal side that have these same characteristics of less predictability, more interventionism. And I believe that is a problem that we're facing, not just with respect to monetary policy, but fiscal policy and also regulatory policy. And I think people should understand that it's a historical movement, and I believe it's harmful.